Hello, Wonderhussy here. Just taking a walk in the sand dunes by the beach. Just kidding. I'm actually camping on the Black Rock Playa, site of the notorious, and especially so this year, Burningman Festival. That's right, I came out here to see for myself how this dry lake bed is doing a month after the mudpocalypse. Okay, remember the mudpocalypse that was all over the media? People were stuck in the mud at Burning Man. Vehicles were bogged down up to their axles. People were abandoning their tents, RVs, and cars and walking 5 miles across the playa just to hitch a ride in the back of a pickup truck to get back to civilization. Yep, I've come back to the scene of the crime of that very same mudpocalypse. Now, if you watched the video I made at Burning Man, I was there in the mudpocalypse and it wasn't that bad, as long as you had the luxury of waiting out the rain, which I did. I waited until the whole playa dried out and I drove out without having to abandon a single thing. Anyway, shocker, it was a lot of media hype, and a lot of that hype actually surrounded the conditions of the playa. How are they ever going to restore this playa to its pristine condition and get their permit renewed so they can have the festival again here next year? Okay, this is BLM land, this vast dry lake bed, which let me just show you what we're talking about. For reference, I'm going to back up here into these little sand dunes that I camped in right at the edge of the playa. You know, I just kind of wanted to hug the edge. But if you go out onto this playa, holy cannoli, it stretches for miles and miles and miles. I can't remember the exact number. I want to say it's like 70 miles long, something like that. It's a huge, vast dry lake bed, and it's managed by the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, aka the federal government, and they lease it out to Burning Man every September, Labor Day, to have this big festival. And so Burning Man has to pay a pretty penny for this permit. Again, I don't know the exact number, but I want to say it's at least $1 million. So the BLM makes a ton of money off this event. So obviously it was in both parties' interests to keep this thing going, right? I mean, the BLM wants their $1 million permit money. Well, the Burning Man organization is probably making way more than $1 million off all them rich hippies coming out here paying $500 a ticket, $150 for a parking pass, this, that, and the other. Neither side really wanted to cancel this event. And so my hunch was that, well, yeah, of course, the Burning Man organization is going to do as best of a job as they can to make sure they left no trace at all of the event. The BLM is almost certainly going to approve their permit for next year. But never say never. You never know what's going to happen in this crazy world. So I thought it would be interesting to come out here and see for myself with my own two eyes, which aren't biased by either side of this issue. I want to see how the playa is looking. Now, today is October 15th. I think typically the Burning Man cleanup process is supposed to be done by October 10th. Okay, I think the BLM comes out on October 10th and surveys the site and then makes their decision. Okay, did you restore it good enough or no? And Burning Man does a lot to make sure this playa is restored enough to where the BLM says yes. Oh wait, just saw a little piece of trash, which I'll go ahead and do my part to pick up. Now you might go, oh gee, Wonderhussy, look at that, you're finding bits and bobs already. Well, I have no idea that this has anything to do with the Burning Man Festival. There's all kinds of people out here. There's some people tearing across the dry lake bed right now. People come out here all the time because you can drive as fast as you want out here. In fact, I think they even set a land speed record out here one year. People come out here all the time to do that. And it's not just people racing around driving on the playa. I got here last night and there was airplanes buzzing the playa. There's a bunch of people over there camped out in RVs. In fact, I think there's even a big camp out. Some hippies are out there somewhere camping out with DJs and lights because there was a solar eclipse the other day. So there's a lot of stuff going on out here and a lot of people recreate on this playa all the time. So in a way, I kind of feel bad for the people who are trying to clean up after Burning Man. I mean, they're out here grading the friggin' surface. I'm not kidding. I mean, their cleanup process starts with they hire people to stay like, a month after the event. Yeah, October 10th, a full month after Burning Man ends, they pay people to stay and walk in grids and pick up every last little piece of trash. But it doesn't stop there. Then they actually get earth moving equipment and they go out and they grade everything so that it's smooth again. Okay, that was a big concern, we'll call it, of environmentalists and Burning Man haters that, oh gosh, because of the mud and people trying to leave in the mud, the playa got so rutted up, it'll never be restored to its pristine flat status. Well, it rains up here every winter and snows. And so I'm pretty sure between the rain and the snow, that would have flattened the playa again anyway. But whatever, the Burning Man organization has earth-moving equipment out here. In fact, I saw when I drove in last night, even at sunset, there was still a guy driving along, smoothing out the playa. They are really doing whatever they can to get this playa in the shape to where the BLM will give them the okay to have the festival again next year so everybody can keep getting rich. But I'm not going to just make any assumptions. I'm out here. I drove all the way up here. So I thought what would be interesting to do is drive to the site. I actually went on Google Maps and pinned the exact coordinate where my camp was at Burning Man a month ago. And so I thought it might be interesting to drive over there and check my campsite, which was at 8 o'clock in B, which right in the middle of the event. Now, fortunately, there's good cell signal out here right now. I mean, during the Burning Man event, you don't really get a signal, but because there's not 80,000 people out here draining the cell tower, there's my campsite right here. Okay, put directions. It says I'm 4.7 miles from where I camped, and it's going to take us 18 minutes to get there. Look here. Here's just some of the earth-moving equipment they're using to clean and grade this playa. I mean, look at those, what is it, grader and 3, what are those called, front loaders? They are using that to smooth everything down so that you'd never know anything happened here. And what's interesting is Google Maps is basically navigating me towards what was what they call Gate Road. The road they grade out for the festival, and then they put up flags, like fences all along it, so you can't, they want to funnel everybody in along the same road. So that road saw a ton of traffic, Gate Road, right? All the people coming in, you know, all 75,000 of them, and all the people coming out in the mud. But it's interesting because you can hardly even see that this used to be a road. I mean, yeah, I guess it is more hard packed in the center than it is on either side, but it's certainly not rutted. Okay, since the roads are gone, I just decided to cut straight across the playa because it'd be faster. But it's funny because Google Maps is still trying to route me along all these little roads that were at one time graded out for the Burning Man event. Like it wants me to go turn left on Esplanade, turn left on 8 o'clock, turn right on B. Well, I got news for you, Google. There ain't no Esplanade, 8 o'clock, or B here anymore. Okay, it says I'm here. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm at the exact spot. Let's get out and poke around. This is probably pretty much where I had my rig parked for the duration of the event. My camper would have been right here next to it. My shade structure would have been in front of it. And then behind me would have been the camp that I stayed with. But golly, you would never know what happened here a month ago. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The playa is not, you know, you're not going to be able to play a game of marbles on it. Like, there's chunks. It's kind of lumpy. It's not linoleum, okay? And yes, if they never allowed events like that out here, this playa probably would be in much better condition, you know, all perfectly flat, cracked, smooth playa. But, you know, then the government wouldn't make any money. And then we, the people, wouldn't be allowed to recreate out here. Like I said, it's not just Burning Man that comes out here. There's all kinds of rocket launching competitions. People launch rockets out here. They attempt land speed records. They camp out. They just come out here to drive as fast as they want. I don't know. People come out here for all kinds of different things. Not just to take drugs and roll around in the mud. I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. I don't see any abandoned tents. I don't see any abandoned RVs. I don't see any abandoned bicycles. And that was all you saw on the news as people were leaving Burning Man. People are abandoning all this stuff, leaving everything behind. Oh, it's going to take months to clean up. They'll never get their permit renewed. I mean, yeah, sure. If you go up here and take video the week after the event, you're going to see all kinds of crap left behind. But I find that disingenuous. You know, say what you will about burners, and I certainly have complained my share about burners and the Burning Man organization. They do an excellent job cleaning up. There's nothing left here. You know, there's just those people that are camping here now, and the garbage that they're leaving here. This is a piece of a tarp. Okay, yeah, I suppose it could be a tarp that was used by burners, but I'll bet you anything it was just some other people came out here. Plenty of people have camped here in the month since the cleanup. And I also think that's kind of unfair. Like, you know, these crews of people are out here combing in grids trying to pick up all the garbage. Well, the Burning Man permit expires the Tuesday after the event. So this year it was like, I don't know, September 10th or something. I don't remember exactly what date. But the cleanup crews are here for a full month after that. And so as they're trying to clean up, well, there's no permit anymore blocking people from coming out here. So people could just come out and trash it even more, and they would still have to clean it up. I don't really know how that works. It doesn't seem fair to me, but I do know I read a profile in GQ magazine of the main guy, the main cleanup guy, and he seemed like a cool dude. He's out here every year. He's in charge of the whole cleanup operation, and they just camp out here for a month, and it's peaceful. All the friggin' stinking hippies are gone, except for the cleanup crew. And it doesn't actually sound that bad to me to you just walk around all day. They give you food. You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks, and water, whatever you need. You just walk around all day with a grabber, picking up every little piece of trash you find. And then I think they even mark it down on an iPad, because every camp that's placed officially, like my pizza camp, we were officially placed at 8 o'clock in B, because the people I camp with, they've done it before. Whatever, these bigger camps that offer services, they get placement, okay? And so it's all a record of who was camped where. And so if they find a bunch of crap at a certain spot on the playa, well, they mark it down, and then they go look up who was camped here. And then they release this thing called the MOOP map. MOOP, M-O-O-P, stands for Matter Out of Place. And it just means anything, litter, but not just garbage like beer cans. It could also be twigs or leaves or feathers or anything that was not native to this playa that was brought in by burners. Is called MOOP, okay? And so these moopers that are going around cleaning up after the event, if they find, say they found a pile of zip ties or something, well, they would mark that down on their iPad, and then it would go into the official record. And so any day now, they're going to release the official Burning Man MOOP map. They release a map showing the whole circular grid of the city, or semicircular grid of the city, and each camp is either colored green, yellow, or red. Okay, if your camp gets a green, that means they didn't really find any MOOP on your campsite. If your camp gets a yellow, it means they found some MOOP there, warning. And if your camp gets a red, woo-wee, I don't even think they let you come back. I'm not sure how it works. I know there's been some camps in the past that were just lazy and just left all kinds of crap behind. Like one year I feel like there was a camp that left mattresses, and lots of people abandoned their bikes here. I mean, it is frankly kind of an indefensibly gross event. Like, it's very Western, first world. Let me fly into Reno, go to Walmart, buy a tent, buy a bike, buy all the things I'm going to need for the week, and then just leave them all on the playa. Or maybe if you're slightly more ethical, you'll donate the bikes. There's a place in town, which I'll show you in a minute, where they collect all the abandoned bikes and donated bikes that people don't want to have to take home with them. And then I guess they give them to, less fortunate children. I'm not really sure what's going to become of all these bikes, because there was a ton of bikes left behind this year. But there's not a one of them to be seen now, which I think is pretty impressive. I mean, for all I know, by the time this video is released, it'll probably already be public news whether or not the permit got renewed. But what do you guys think looking around? If you were the federal government and a bunch of hippies wanted to have another party out here next year, would you renew their permit? Or would you say, oh no, this playa is too lumpy, I'm sorry, we can't take your $1 million? I'm just going to go ahead and guess that they are going to renew the permit. But we've only looked at the playa. I don't really know for sure how this approval process goes, but there's also the roads out of here. Okay, everybody leaves this playa, and they have to get on this little 2-lane highway over here and drive all the way back down to Interstate 80. Like, gosh, I think it's like 90 miles of 2-lane highway. And so a lot of times you see tons of trash along that 2-lane highway. Bags of trash that fell off of rigs that were, not secured properly. Or like sometimes you'll see Well, you'll see busted, blown out tires. You'll see entire rigs that blew up, parked at the side of the road. You'll see abandoned RVs, things that broke down. I don't know if that affects whether or not their permit gets renewed, but I think we should go check out the road just to see if there is a bunch of unsightly litter. You know, I hear a lot about the environmental impact of Burning Man on the playa and the surrounding communities. I personally feel like the surrounding communities welcome it. Like, yeah, I'm sure they talk plenty of snark, you know, behind these hippies' backs, but they're happy to take money from them for gas, ice. They sell all kinds of crap, all these little towns along the way. In fact, the only ones who don't want this event to keep happening are maybe the little brine shrimp or fairy shrimp or whatever they are that supposedly live under the crust here somewhere. And maybe certain hardcore environmentalists. You guys remember this year? As the event was starting and people were driving up here, those environmentalists created a roadblock in protest of climate change. Well, guess what happened? The friggin' sheriff blew through that roadblock because it was keeping burners from getting up here, and they wanted that money. Ain't nobody got time for these environmentalists. We're trying to make a buck here. Again, I just think it's amazing that 1 month ago, there was a giant flaming pyre, and there were nightclubs and bars and orgy domes and roller discos and all kinds of crazy crap all over this desert just 30 days ago, and it's all gone. Okay, let's get back in the car and go check out the conditions of the road. Okay, we're here at the entrance to the playa, where this little 2-lane blacktop meets the dry lake bed. This is the 12-mile playa access, and you can see it's got the logo of the Bureau of Land Management right there in the upper left corner. Those are the guys that either thumbs up or thumbs down whether or not this event gets to take place again. God, there's still all kind of weird hippies up here. Anyway, this is the point at which 80,000 people, or 75,000, however many people came this year, were funneled from the pavement up there onto the playa. And so you would think this would be one of the worst hit areas. I mean, like I said, it's not just Burning Man that takes place on this playa. Lots of people come out here and go camping. You can see they even have an area that's designated as the rocket launch area. Remember how I was saying they have that rocket launching competition or festival? I don't know what time of year that's at, but I sure would like to come to that one of these days. And then just down from the rocket launch area is the Burning Man site, seasonal restrictions. And I think they actually moved that around a little bit from year to year so that they don't permanently scar the place where it is. Anyway, there's all kinds of really interesting stuff up on this vast, I mean, you can see how big this dry lake bed is. It's amazing. And you can drive around, and you can camp and have campfires, and you can do pretty much anything except for collect artifacts. But it says, be prepared. You will be on your own. No services, no water, no cell phone service. Survive. Okay, well, there is cell signal down at this part of the playa right now, but I've gone all the way up around out here, and holy cow, it is remote. So they aren't kidding when they tell you to be prepared. But anyway, that's not really why I came over here. I came over here to check out this highway. And again, in the news media, there was all kinds of pictures and footage of abandoned vehicles broken down on either side of this road as far as the eye can see. But just like everything we've seen today, you can see that was nothing but a big old steaming pile of hype. But, you know, that's just the portion of the highway directly in front of the event. What if we take this road a few more miles and see what it looks like down the ways a bit? Okay, I've driven several miles down the highway from the exit to Burning Man, and I haven't seen any, and I mean 0, pieces of trash on either side of the highway. Now granted, this highway goes on way farther, all the way down to I-80, but this is a pretty good representative stretch. No abandoned RVs, no abandoned cars, no trash bags. Oh wait, what's this? Oh, there's a big old soda cup. Actually, it's a three-fer, 3 of them. Well, I'll go ahead and take this with me and throw it away. I really don't think this came from Burning Man because you can't buy Pepsi at Burning Man. This fell off some hillbilly's truck. Whatever, I'll take it back with me because, well, there's something I haven't been completely honest about in this video, and that is I myself accidentally left some trash behind at Burning Man. Oh my God, I felt terrible about it. I was the last person in my camp to leave, and again, the camp that I stayed with has a pristine reputation with the BM org. They do everything right. They've never done anything to incur the wrath of the Burning Man organization. But I was the last person to leave camp, and so I hitched up my trailer, I packed everything up, hitched up, and the last thing I had to do was, crank the thing off the hitch, and I had it sitting on 2 pieces of wood. They were like 10 inch by 10 inch, 2 square pieces of wood. And so I cranked it up off of the wood, I hitched it onto my rig, and I put on the chains, and I hooked up the lights, and I drove off the playa and forgot all about those pieces of wood. And I would feel terrible if my oversight caused my camp to get yellow or red light. I don't know how that works. I don't know if they'll give you, well, I can't imagine they would give you a red light just based on 2 square pieces of wood, because the rest of the camp was clean as a whistle. We walked around and, in a grid formation and picked up every little last piece. And that's the irony of it, is I assiduously mooped my campsite. I picked up every little tiny thread or sequin or anything that I saw laying on the ground. And then I drove off and left these 2 big chunks of wood. So hopefully it doesn't even cause them to get a yellow light, because I'd feel real bad about that. But at least I don't have to worry about my little squares of wood being the cause for getting the permit denied, because my blocks of wood were almost certainly picked up by the very first line of moopers that walked by, because, well, they're 2 10 by 10 squares of wood. It'd be pretty hard to miss. And like I said, the Burning Man org does an exceptional job cleaning up the playa. Which brings me to one last thing I want to show you before I conclude this little tour of the 2023 post-Burning Man State of the Playa report. Okay, we're a few miles down the road now, and we're coming up on the little town of Gerlach, Nevada. It's the closest town, and it's a real small town, to where the Burning Man Festival is held. And I guess the Burning Man organization has started buying property in Gerlach because, well, they're up here half the year, every year anyway, planning the event, building the event, hosting the event, and then cleaning up after the event. So I guess they figured they might as well just start buying property. And so they did. They set up like an official Burning Man headquarters office, and there's a bunch of stuff. I'm not even sure exactly what all they got going on here, but I do know that I saw one thing when I was driving up here, and I thought this was pretty interesting. Look at all them bicycles. Those are all bikes that were collected from the Black Rock Playa. And then I guess they're gonna give them to some charity or something and pass them out to, disadvantaged kids. But that's my point. These guys do an amazing job. There's their corporate office right there. They do an amazing job cleaning up after this event. So it really does gall me when people talk about how they're not gonna get their permit renewed, blah, 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 blah. Get out of town. Oh, well, it's like they say, haters gonna hate, but meanwhile, burners are gonna burn, and they're going to clean up after themselves. So, sorry, haters, but I guess I'll see you at Burning Man 2024. Wonderhussy here, about to head out into the middle of nowhere to check out some ghost towns and hot springs to share with everyone on my YouTube channel. Oh gosh, I don't know. It's pretty scary out there. I heard there's snakes under every rock, meth labs in every abandoned building, deadly amoeba in every hot spring, and serial killers all over the place. Yikes! You know, after thinking about it, I think it's probably a better idea to just stay home where I'm safe. I better just go back inside and stay indoors for the rest of my life. Huh, what's this? Magic beans? I wonder if these are from the same shop where that gypsy woman sold me my magic bikini. Well, I suppose just one couldn't hurt. Wow! What's in these beans? Oh, look here. It says, guaranteed to turn any Wonderhussy into a Wonderhussy. Well, that explains why I feel like Popeye the Sailor Man after eating a can of spinach. Like I can do anything. No snakes down here. No meth labs or serial killers in here. And as long as I keep my head above water, the amoebas can't get me. Naegleria fowleri can only enter the brain through an olfactory nerve in your nostrils. So as long as you don't get water up your nose, there's nothing to worry about. Wow, these magic beans have really opened my eyes. I was starting to believe everything I saw on the news, but now I know the news only shows us what they want to. By showing us terrible stories that keep us in a perpetual state of fear, they make a lot of money selling security systems and weapons. And the government is in on it too, because when we're afraid, we're easier to control. Not today, Satan. Don't be a Wonderhussy. Try my magic beans for yourself. Just head on over to WonderhussyGummies.com and place your order today. Because they're made with hemp-derived Delta-9 THC, they're technically federally legal and can be shipped almost anywhere. And what's more, they're 100% organic, 100% vegan, and 100% made in the USA. Nice try, government. Nobody puts Wonderhussy in the corner.